Welcome everyone to our Prometheus live session. I appreciate you all for giving up your time and attending this live. KodeKloud is a self-paced DevOps learning platform that you can access anytime, anywhere in the comfort of your home. Whether you are an absolute beginner or a seasoned specialist, learning something new or expanding your knowledge, KodeKloud has it all. We have around 45 plus premium courses with KodeKloud Playground, which are sandbox KodeKloud and DevOps environment. Not only that, we have a fantastic feature that is KodeKloud Engineer. It's a place where you get to work on real life projects using real system. We also have a very vibrant KodeKloud community where you can engage with like-minded people. In this session, we'll be talking about one of the most requested courses on KodeKloud. Today, we have Sanjeev as a speaker, who is the instructor and the creator for Prometheus, Customize and AWS ECS course. Sanjeev has 8 plus years of IT experience working primarily as a network engineer for prominent network vendors. He has worked on designing, testing large network for Fortune 500 companies ranging from enterprise customers to cloud and service providers. Welcome Sanjeev, and it could be great if you can introduce yourself about your journey and Prometheus course.
Hey everyone. So I'm Sanjeev. I'm one of the instructors here at KodeKloud, and as mentioned, I am the one that's responsible for creating this Prometheus course. And I joined KodeKloud about 6 months ago. Prior to that, as mentioned, I was a network engineer, predominantly doing proof of concepts. And about 3 to 4 years ago, I started doing a lot of online courses and tutorials, covering a wide array of topics ranging from programming to web development to other, cloud and DevOps-based technologies. And, about 6 months ago, I decided to join the KodeKloud team and produce courses full-time. So I've made a couple of different courses here at KodeKloud. I have customized course. I have a course on ECS, and now this is my third course on Prometheus, which was one of our most requested courses. So I'm happy to bring this course to you guys.
Till then, Sanjeev is going ahead with the session. Let's have all the comments coming in the chat. So if you have any doubts regarding the regarding the courses or something, you can just post them in the comment section, and we'll be taking it at the end of the session. Hi Rakesh, thank you all. Hi Angel, hi Manuel.
All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep, so this course is going to be on Prometheus, and if you guys don't know what Prometheus is, it's a monitoring solution, an open source monitoring solution that's used to track metrics for your infrastructure and your applications. So whether it's monitoring metrics for your server so that you can keep track of disk utilization, CPU and memory utilization, or if you wanted to keep track of metrics for your specific application. So things like latency, the number of requests going to an API, or the number of concurrent requests that are still being handled by your API server. These are all things that Prometheus has been designed to be able to keep track for you. And so this is just a quick overview of our curriculum for this specific course. And I'm going to just walk you through some of the things that are going to be covered and discussed as you progress through this course. So the first thing that we're going to start off with is we're going to start off by going over, observability as a whole. So we're going to talk about the different components that make up observability so that we can understand where Prometheus falls under the underlying tree of observability. And so if you guys don't know, Prometheus is all about collecting metrics. So it falls under the metrics branch of observability. But we spend a little time just going over what each one of the different components of observability actually do and why each one is important. I think it's kind of important to understand that as you learn about Prometheus to get why Prometheus was actually created. After that, we're going to move on to talking about some of the basics of Prometheus, and that's going to include the overall Prometheus architecture. So this is just a little snapshot of what the Prometheus architecture looks like. It looks a little complicated right now. But you'll see that we'll tackle each one of these components individually as we progress through this course. So all of this will start to make sense, and you'll see that it's actually pretty straightforward and pretty easy to work with once you actually understand what each one of these components does and why we need them. And after we cover the architecture, we're then going to cover how to install Prometheus on a server. We'll then set up a Prometheus to scrape metrics from various different targets. And we'll take a look at all of the different configuration options that come with Prometheus so that no matter what your setup is supposed to do, you guys will know exactly what configurations you'll need to actually accomplish that in the prometheus.yaml file. Then after that, we'll take a look at PromQL. So after Prometheus has been configured to scrape metrics from various servers and applications, it's going to then store all of that data inside a database, and you'll want to be able to query that database so that you can actually take a look at the data yourself. And the way to do that is by using its built-in query language called PromQL. And PromQL has a lot of different features that makes Prometheus a really valuable and powerful tool. But we have to go over a lot of the different concepts and tools that you have at your disposal to make use of PromQL. So there's going to be things like covering selectors and modifiers. We have different operators, aggregators, functions. We have queries, subqueries. So there's a lot to cover. And in the PromQL section, I wanted to make it as comprehensive as possible. So we really cover each one of the different features so that you can query and extract the exact data that you're ultimately interested in seeing. Then after we go over PromQL, we'll go over some of the built-in dashboarding and visualization tools that come with Prometheus. Normally when it comes to Prometheus, I think the most popular visualization tool is Grafana, which is a separate third-party tool. We don't actually cover that in this course. We wanted to stick to exclusively dashboarding and visualization tools that are built into Prometheus. So we'll cover things like console templates. But I do understand that Grafana goes kind of hand in hand with Prometheus. So actually, that is the next course that we have planned. So I'll be working on building a Grafana course so that once you guys finish the Prometheus course, you can hop right into the Grafana course and set that up to work with Prometheus as well. Then once we figure out how to scrape metrics from our physical infrastructure, like our servers, we then also want to be able to track metrics from our application. So if we have like a Python application, we want to be able to collect metrics for our applications as well. And so we have a section on application instrumentation, which is where we take one of the Prometheus clients and we actually instrument our application so that Prometheus can collect metrics from our application as well. And for this course, I just chose to use a simple Python-based application. We'll be building out a simple Flask API, and I'll show you how you can then set up metrics to track various things like, what's the latency of a request? What are the total number of requests being processed at a single moment? What's the total number of requests across each one of our endpoints? So I'll show you how to do that. And even if you're ultimately not interested in creating a Python application, regardless of what programming language you use, you'll be able to pretty easily instrument your application using the same methodologies that I've covered in this section. And then after we have that set up, the next thing that we want to do is focus on alerting. So, if we on one of our production servers experience low disk space, obviously if you're by your computer, you'll be able to just quickly perform a query and take a look and see what's going on. However, in circumstances where maybe you're not at your computer and you may not always be by your Prometheus console, especially if it's in the middle of the weekend or when you're sleeping, you'll need some sort of alerting mechanism so that you can, forward notifications to administrators so that they can take a look at an issue before it starts to become a real problem. And that's where Prometheus's alerting and alert manager functionality come into play. The alert manager allows you to generate alerts and then send notifications through various integrations like email, Slack, SMS, and PagerDuty so that your team can be notified anytime an issue arises. And then finally, the last section is going to be covering Kubernetes integration. So this section isn't technically part of the Prometheus Certified Associate exam, but because Prometheus is so kind of intertwined with Kubernetes, and it's one of the reasons why Prometheus has gotten popular is because the explosion in popularity of Kubernetes, I wanted to include a section on this as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to show how to deploy a Prometheus server onto a Kubernetes cluster. And we'll set up Prometheus to not only monitor the Kubernetes infrastructure, but also the applications running on it. And what we're going to do is we're going to make use of a Prometheus operator. And this operator is going to make use of several custom CRDs that come with it. So we're going to go over the different custom CRDs that come with the operator. So things like the service monitors, the Prometheus rules, and the alert manager. So this operator actually has all of these extra CRDs that allow you to modify your Prometheus configuration without actually touching the configuration itself. And you get to define all of the configuration and rules through basic Kubernetes objects. And that's going to pretty much summarize the course. There's a couple of other topics scattered throughout there, things like push gateway, and a few other things like that we will also still cover. I just didn't include in the slide deck just because they're not big major sections. But I wanted to make sure that this course was as comprehensive as possible. So we covered pretty much everything there is, or at least touch every topic that there is to touch when it comes to Prometheus. And for this course, the way I've kind of outlined it is that, I wanted to make sure that you guys really learn the material. And I think the best way to do that is to see a material more than once. So for every topic we have, we're going to see it 3 times. We're going to first see it in a lecture where I kind of just go over some slides. And then we'll take a look at it from a demo perspective, which is me on the command line or me, performing certain queries. So you get to watch me do it. And then finally, you'll get a chance to lab it up yourself. So we have, for every section, there's going to be a hands-on lab where you get to perform, whatever action on your own on a real environment, so that you get a chance to actually learn how to work with Prometheus, learn how to install it, configure it, set it up to scrape metrics, and then perform queries all by yourself. And all of this environment is going to be integrated within KodeKloud, so you don't have to set anything up. You don't have to worry about the infrastructure costs or anything like that. It's all done on our end. And we also have quizzes and mock exams. So there's going to be 3 mock exams, so that if you plan to take the Prometheus Certified Associate course, you will be able to do that, and you'll have practice questions that'll help prepare you for that. And I think going through 3 exams should make you ready to pass that exam, and you'll see that it'll be pretty easy to actually pass it once done. But that's what I have in store for you guys. Just let me know if you guys have any questions on any of the topics or anything like that, and I'm happy to discuss any of that with you guys.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Sanjeev, for a great overview about the course. Now let's take some questions from the chat section. So the first question is, will this course be covering from the basics, and do we have integration with Kubernetes as well?
Yeah, so this covers Prometheus from the absolute basics. You don't need to know anything about Prometheus beforehand. And yes, we do cover Kubernetes integration as well.
All right. The next question is, would this be a basic course or E2E?
I mean, is it end-to-end?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's going to cover everything you kind of want to cover when it comes to Prometheus. I wanted to make sure there wasn't any topics left behind. So it's not just like a very entry-level or basic course. It covers everything, but it will cover it from the beginning. So you don't have to have any prior knowledge.
Also, the same questions, like, do we have to cover anything additional to the courses for the certification?
So for the certification, you don't. For this course, the only 2 sections that you may need to have some prior knowledge is the application instrumentation section. So since we are kind of showing you how you can set up your own application to provide Prometheus metrics, it is going to be a little bit of programming. So it may help to have a little bit of a programming background or a Python background on that. Not absolutely necessary, as long as you kind of understand the high-level overview of what you're trying to accomplish. That's kind of the main goal of this section, but it would help to have some programming background. And then the other section is the Kubernetes section. For that, I expect you to kind of have some Kubernetes background on that. So that's the only other section where you would need to have some prior knowledge. But outside of that, you don't need to have any familiarity with any of the other topics.
Great. So, Vinod, I think that answers your question. The next question is, how different is Prometheus compared to Splunk and App Dynamics?
Well, I haven't personally worked with either one of those, so I can't exactly comment on that. So I may not be the best person to ask on that, just because I haven't really gotten a chance to work with Splunk or anything like that.
All right. What's the best way to manage Prometheus configuration and CICD?
Well, it depends on how you're ultimately deploying it, right? If you're deploying it on Kubernetes and you're using the built-in operator, then you're going to be using, the custom CRDs to actually manage the configuration in that case. But outside of that, though, it's just a configuration. It's just a YAML file. So whatever methodology you use for managing, any base configuration or any YAML configs, just like any Kubernetes manifest, you can just do that within your CICD pipeline as well.
Awesome. Thanks for the feedback. Labs are great. Thank you so much. The next is, do we cover the Prometheus version upgrade in the course?
We do not. I don't have a section on that. That is something we could definitely look into adding if that's something you guys are interested in looking at as well.
All right. Do we have any mock examinations over this course?
Yeah, there's going to be 3 mock exams. We're still. I've got 1 done. We still just have 2 more to go, but there will be 3 by the end.
All right. Yes, Rakesh, this course is available on KodeKloud website, and the link to this course is be added on the description, so you can just check out the description. The next is, we'll be uploading this session as soon as possible. I'll sign up for this week. The next question is, do we cover managed Prometheus services from different cloud providers, the advantages, benefits of managed Prometheus?
There's no sections on any like the built-in cloud managed services for Prometheus. This is more about setting up your own instance and working with that. But I think you'll see that most of the concepts are going to apply even for a managed service, except the managed service, obviously the cloud provider is going to do a lot of the underlying managing of the infrastructure for Prometheus, but integrating and working with it, I think you'll see all of the principles that we cover in this course will be applicable in that situation as well.
All right. How is this certification done? Will it be like CKA, CKS, and CKD?
Yeah, so it's the certification goes to I think the same platform, the Linux Foundation platform. So you'll work in that same environment. You'll do one of those remote proctoring sessions. Except the course in this case is not the course, but the exam is strictly just multiple choice based questions. So that's just something to keep in mind. So even though our course is hands-on and we cover a lot of hands-on labs, the actual certification itself is technically just multiple choice questions.
Yeah. And do you use Grafana along with Prometheus?
So for this course, it's just Prometheus. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm working on a Grafana course right after we wrap up all of the Prometheus related stuff for this course. I'm going to work on a separate Grafana course, which will cover working with Grafana and integrating it with Prometheus. But for this course, it's just exclusively Prometheus.
All right. Priya is asking, what's the total duration of this course?
I'd have to double check on that. I don't actually have the timestamps. I was supposed to do that, and I realized I forgot to actually get that. I would say it's probably going to take you. I don't have like an hour or time value, but it's probably going to take you like a month to get through it. There's a lot of content in it. There's 10 different sections, and each one has several lectures as well as multiple hands-on labs. So it's going to take quite some time, but I don't have I don't have any time values to help you guys out on that. I'm sorry about that.
When are you planning to release the course on integrating with Grafana? No.
Integrating with
Grafana.
with
Yeah.
Grafana. Well, I haven't started on that course yet, so we're just about to get started because we're just finally wrapping up that. I don't have an ETA on when we'll be done with that. But the Grafana course should be, it shouldn't take too long, or it shouldn't take as long as the Prometheus course, just because there isn't as many things to cover as there was for Prometheus. So hopefully as soon as possible.
All right. Let's take 3 more questions now as we're running out of time. So how long does it take to prepare for the PCA exam? Let's say if I spend around 1 or 2 hours per day.
If you spend 1 or 2 hours per day, I think you can probably knock it out in a couple of weeks. Just talking about some of the high level concepts, like I mentioned, it's mostly multiple choice. So you don't have to master all of the topics, but as long as you get a basic understanding of performing the query, the queries and you understand from a high level overview what the different components can do, I think that in a couple of weeks should be more than enough.
All right. And do we need any kind of additional resources to prepare for the examination, or the course has covered everything?
The course should cover, or it should provide you enough to pass the exam. I did notice there was like a random off question about one or two topics that didn't even seem to really even be on the curriculum. There's one question about Grafana that I had gotten, which I didn't see it on the curriculum. That's why it wasn't originally part of the course, but it's ultimately one question. So the course should provide everything you need to be able to pass the exam.
Yeah, I think that answers your questions. Thanks, Kenneth. Thanks, Aziz, for your feedback. And the last question is it possible to set up Prometheus in HA mode? I think that's a technical question, and that could be answered in our Slack community. So do join it if you haven't. Yeah, any other thing you would like to add, Sanjeev?
No, not really. I think you guys are going to really enjoy the course. I put a lot of time into it, and I wanted to, as I mentioned, make it as comprehensive as possible. So I think you guys will get a lot out of it. And by the end of it, you guys should be pretty competent at working with Prometheus, and you'll definitely have enough to pass the exam as well.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for joining this live session, and also do subscribe to our channel, and do not forget to hit the like button, the bell button, and if you want to have such kind of live session with us. Also, the link to the courses has been added to the description of this live stream, so you can definitely check out from that as well. You can also join our Slack community for other course announcements, playground announcements if you haven't. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining in, and we'll see you soon. Thanks everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.